Going on, everybody? We are here talking about the NFL playoffs. As we all know, it is just around the corner, and it's going to start this coming up weekend with Super Wildcard Weekend. We got some fantastic matchups, and today we're going to be predicting the entire playoffs to the best of my ability. I generally think I am a good predictor. This might go really poorly when I get every single pick wrong, but you know what? I do think I'm a good predictor. So let's go ahead and start off with the Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans series. This is going to be a great game, I think, honestly. I think Cleveland holds an advantage by having a better defense. Realistically, the Texans, I think they're still a year or two away from being that Super Bowl contending team. But as long as CJ Stroud keeps leading them the way they have a legit chance. But, you know, Cleveland found something. They got old Joe Flacco out there playing some good football, and I think, honestly, Cleveland holds the advantage in this game. I am taking Cleveland over the Houston Texans. Moving on to the Dolphins versus the Chiefs game, I thought there's a chance the Dolphins could compete. They are 1-5 against winning opponents, so it's not a very good outlook for them. So I'm not sold at this current moment that the Dolphins could realistically win this game at this point, as they haven't proven that they can beat these opponents. They've lost almost all of them, and guess what? It's going to be 8-degree weather. I don't see the Dolphins winning this game. I'm taking Kansas City to probably dominate this game. The next game is actually the last AFC game of the Wild Card Weekend. It's going to be the Bills versus the Steelers. It's going to be like really, really bad weather, like 30-mile-per-hour winds, like 5 degrees. Like, there's no chance. TJ Watt's not playing. I'm not balled in on the Steelers. They're that type of team. They'll finish 500 in their first-round playoff exit, and that's what's going to happen here. Pittsburgh is out in the first round. Buffalo will move on. Moving on to the NFC, I guess, at this point, because we haven't talked about any of them. We have Dallas versus Green Bay. Now, Green Bay is, I believe, won the last 8 games in Dallas over the last few years, obviously. Now, this isn't the same Green Bay team that it used to be. This is also Mike McCarthy's reunition to the Green Bay Packers. They have a lot of history between these two teams. Remember that no catch from Dez Bryant, that was against the Packers a while back. So, with that being said, I don't think Packers stand a chance to win this game. Cowboys are, believe undefeated at home, which is huge that they ended up at the 2 seed because they get home games the rest of the way. And so I'm taking the Cowboys here without a doubt. I don't see this being much of a competition by Green Bay's standard. It could be a good game. You know, Mike McCarthy's made some really bad decisions in the playoffs in the past couple of years. So I could very much easily see this being another bad decision. But I think they survive Green Bay and move on. Moving on to probably the best game of all of these, and the most interesting with the best storyline, the Rams versus Detroit. Matt Stafford back in Detroit. Ooh, baby, it sounds so good. Oh, boy. And even Jared Goff's getting his revenge game against the Rams. Obviously, both guys got traded for one another. This is a huge game for both teams. Nobody expected the Rams to be in this situation, and nobody truly expected Detroit to be probably as good as they were this year. They are hosting this playoff game, but unfortunately, I think the Rams win this game. I feel like the experience of Sean McVay is going to be better than Dan Campbell. I also think the experience of Matthew Stafford over Jared Goff is going to be a huge factor. I kind of hope the Lions prove me wrong and win this game, but I think they lose this week to the Rams. I think it'll be the best game of the whole Super Wildcard Weekend pretty easily because it's just that. It's going to be set out to be fantastic. Moving on to the Eagles and the Bucks. The Eagles and the Bucks, this is probably the most interesting game. You have the Bucks who kind of been hit or miss all year long. They could be a decent team. They could be just, they won the South, you know. But I do say the Eagles have been struggling significantly. Now, this is not even in Philly. This is in Tampa Bay. Philly doesn't have any advantage coming into this game. A.J. Brown, I believe, will play, and same thing with Jalen Hurts, although they are banged up, so that's not a good look for them. And I'm actually going with the Bucks here. I think the Bucks knock off the defending NFC championships in the wild card round. Just call me crazy, but I think it's a possibility, and I think they pull this one off in a miracle fashion. Monday night game, it's kind of weird because this is probably the worst matchup, to be honest. So we're moving on to the divisional round. So Joe Flacco back in Baltimore, baby. As a Ravens fan, this is really entertaining if this does occur. And the NFL scriptwriters are in their bag for this playoff series. So the biggest thing here is this. Baltimore does kind of struggle with this 2-week bye thing. And Lamar Jackson came out and said he hates this 2-week bye. So it concerns me that they won't play as well. But you know, I'm taking Baltimore, baby. I ain't picking no Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco will probably throw away this game intentionally because he loves B-more. Moving on to the Bills versus the Chiefs, a rematch from a couple years ago where it went into overtime. If they could have, double or whatever. It went in overtime, and they played their heart's content. A coin chose the ending of that game. Bills looking for revenge. I think this game will be Buffalo's game to lose. Honestly, Josh Allen's been so turnover prone, it is hard to necessarily think of where he's going to be with this. But I believe that the Bills have a better chance of winning this game than the Chiefs do, just based on the fact that the Chiefs look a little weak this year. And probably don't get to this point if Miami was actually as good as they looked and probably get knocked out in the first round. But I don't believe that's going to happen. I think the Bills end up pulling this one off. It's in Buffalo. I think Bills got full advantage. I feel like everything's been setting up for the Bills to make a nice playoff run this year. Moving on to the NFC, we have the 49ers versus the Rams. And that's going to be an interesting game, as I feel like that's not a terrible matchup. Sean McVay is probably the best head coach currently in the playoffs. I mean, obviously that's up to debate, but I would say he's probably the best head coach in the playoffs. And I think he could outcoach Sean McVay. And could they pull off the upset? Absolutely not. The Niners win this game. I don't think it's going to be that much of a challenge. Maybe coming off of a huge win against Detroit. Does the Rams get enough momentum? But the Rams weren't expected to be good this year, and I don't expect them to get all the way to the NFC Conference Championship. The Niners win that game. Dallas versus the Buccaneers. This is not going to be a good game. So Buccaneers probably shouldn't have gotten through Philly, and they're not going to get through Dallas, especially in Dallas. Dallas will handle this business pretty easily. I don't know what else to say here. Buccaneers, good run, good season. You know, Baker Mayfield gets you to the second round. You got to be kind of happy with that. But Dallas is going to win this game pretty handily. Moving on to the conference championships, we got Buffalo versus Baltimore. You know, my boys, we're playing in Baltimore. And we eat quarterbacks' mistakes up alive. I'm taking the Ravens to win that game without a doubt. It might be a lot of bias here, but I think a lot of people think the Ravens could get through this game very easily. Josh Allen's a mistake-prone quarterback and can sometimes make the plays up later on in the games, but sometimes it doesn't matter. If you're making too many mistakes, you're not going to win football games. And Josh Allen playing against that Ravens defense is going to make too many mistakes, and that's why I think the Ravens win that game and move on. In the NFC side, we got Dallas versus the Niners, and this is going to be boring. I'm taking the Niners. Just saying it. I don't see Dallas beating the Niners. They've struggled against the Niners. The Niners are their kryptonite, and I don't see that changing in this NFC Conference Championship game. I think the Niners win fairly handily over Dallas, probably maybe even domination fashion, or we see another Mike McCarthy dumb decision, or Dak Prescott running with like 10 seconds left. It's a possibility. I think the Niners are winning this game pretty easily, and that puts our Super Bowl matchup as Baltimore versus the Niners. Remember the last time this happened? The blackout. Top tier defenses. Crazy, like a quarterback that nobody expected to be this good for the Niners. The only difference is not the other Harbaugh brother on the other side of the field. Oh, this is going to be a good matchup. I mean, I know the Ravens blew up the Niners earlier on in the year, and obviously they could do that very much again here. And I am obviously going to pick the Ravens as my team. I think they're doing it all this year, baby. I think they're going all the way until they lose in the divisional round to Cleveland. I mean, that's probably going to be the outcome. But I'm taking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. Let me know what comments. Oh, wow, English. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win it all? Who do you think is going to lose this week? Let me know. See you in the next one.